cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon. And in today's video I'm going to be doing a job that I am absolutely dreading because I haven't got a clue how to do it, guys. And that is, I'm going to be bubble wrapping the polytunnel, and I have to do it immediately because the weather forecast for this week is going to be extremely cold, especially at night time. Just 4 Celsius down to 0, -1, -2, and with a high probability of snow as well. Now, the weather up until literally this week has been incredibly mild for November, but then it's just dropped like a ton of bricks and it is cold. Last year we put the bubble wrap on the roof and we did quite a good job at the time. But those of you who know the shape of polytunnels, they're not like conventional greenhouses. Polytunnels are round, hence the name polytunnel. And to try and keep bubble wrap on a curved roof is an absolute nightmare. So last winter bubble wrap kept falling down and it was such a job. So we have to work out somehow how to get this bubble wrap on in a very short space of time. And we've got a few ideas, guys. First of all, we've got the tape, the polytunnel tape, which we use for repairing any holes as well, and it works pretty good for that. This last year was absolutely hopeless at holding the bubble wrap onto the cover, and that's because the cover is too shiny and it just didn't work. But I've got this anyway because I have to try something again. The second thing is we've got these little ties, and these are plastic ties that we are going to try attaching through the bubble wrap to hold it in to see if it's going to work. And then we've got a knife for a bit of cutting, and we've got tons of bubble wrap that we took down from in the springtime. And although I would love to show the whole entire process of how I'm going to be doing this, because I've got a short space of time and it's going to get darker and it's going to get very cold tonight, I just have to knock on with the job and get on with it and then show you how I do it at the end. I might try, if I've got time, film a little few video clips when I do certain things. The most important thing with a polytunnel and a greenhouse is that heat obviously rises at the top, and that's where it goes out of. We have bubble wrap already in the middle here that we kept up during the summer. One, because it was too hard to take down because we have a table of very spiky, puntier, prickly pear cacti. And also it did give a wee bit of shade to some of the epiphytes. So we don't have to worry about that. You can see where the tape, the polytunnel tapes, blinking hopeless, the way it kept falling down there. So the priority, if we put the bubble wrap up, is that most of it goes onto the roof. It doesn't matter. I'm a thing about tidiness. I love things tidy, but I'm gonna have to change my view on that this year because the priority is that the polytunnel is bubble wrapped as much as possible, even if the bubble wrap doesn't look that tidy, because the plants are paramount. Now I just want to mention that I heat the polytunnel. This is a fantastic heater here, and this one is one by BioGreen, and it's the Phoenix one, and it has a thermostatic setting which I have set at 5 Celsius, which is 41 degrees Fahrenheit, and this only kicks in if the air temperature in this polytunnel drops below 5. Usually it will kick on if it just drops below 5, and then it will keep it roughly at 5. When it goes to about 6, 7 C, then it will cut off and then it will drop. So it's very economical. Obviously the cost of electricity, and I think it's pretty much worldwide, is horrible right now, and I have a tight budget to live off. But at 5C and on a thermostat, it keeps a lot of the electricity down than if I had a heater constantly running for obvious reasons. And the more bubble wrap I can have in here, the more heat is going to be kept in here before this heater has to keep coming on. So there's a little bit of a rambling going on there. And this is an electric heater, and it gives off dry heat. It's got a fan as well, which is brilliant because it gives off ventilation as well. I have this here, blows the heat right across, heat rises, and as I say, the necessity is to keep, you know, I may not be able to put this bubble wrap on the sides that I've got here because it's not going to keep up, as you can see. and this is why we've got these sort of wires going across, but we'll do as best a job as we can. Paramount we do the roof, and failing that, it's very, very cold nights, I can throw bubble wrap over the plants, which I had to do last year as well. Anyway, enough of my waffle. Now I'm going to get on with it, and I'm going to show you how we do it. And as I mentioned, I ain't got a blinking clue how I'm going to do this, guys, so blind leading the blind. Now what we're doing here is these poles going across the roof there of the polytunnel. We're just pulling through the bubble wrap through the big poles, because that's going to attach it to the roof. So that's a bit of a start anyway. There we go, guys, that is the first strip of bubble wrap put on this side here. We've fed it through, as you can see. We've got these wires as well on the top that also help to stop the bubble wrap hanging down, because polytunnels are just, as I mentioned with the carveness, it's trying to keep the bubble wrap on. It's, if you have a greenhouse, you can sort of lay it flat. We even thought about putting the bubble wrap on the outside, but that's not a possibility either. But that's the first bit done, so happy days. Now, guys, what we put here with the bubble wrap, put some of them ties here to tie it to the metal poles, because as I mentioned, the tape just doesn't work. So that should stop this part of the bubble wrap from falling down and hanging. And I'll just take you around here. Obviously this is all pretty exposed here, and I don't know if we can honestly put bubble wrap on this. It's just too difficult to get the tape staying. This plastic is quite, you know, it's quite solid. We've had holes in it. We've had to cover it up with tape, as you can see there, a lot of damage. This is also holes when we've had birds landing on it. And I would have to say I wouldn't get another polytunnel again. So the next, I'll probably get a proper polycarbonate one, or ideally a sunroom in the future when I have to move. But this is where we've got the tape here already, that's already on. So now I'm thinking, with the bubble wrap, the only thing I think of, as I mentioned, the roof is the most important to stop any of the heat from stop the heat getting out too much. And I think I'm going to find a way of sticking it on the back there, dragging it through across there and bringing it to the other side of the door. It doesn't matter if it's hanging a bit. Most important thing is that to keep as much of the heat in here as possible. But it is certainly challenging. You can see here condensation dripping on the top because it has gone suddenly very cold. And the condensation is the biggest problem because, as I say, I mentioned, we're putting tape on to hold the bubble wrap. It just doesn't work, especially on a curved sides. And although I have the door, I've had to close it at the moment because it's a bit windy. But when I have the door, I keep the door open as much as possible, even when it's pretty cold, to ventilate at least for a couple of hours each day. Ventilation is so important. So right, I just have to think about how I'm going to do this next. Now, just show you what I mean here. I've got a roll of bubble wrap and I've got it there going all the way through to the roof where these metal poles are, and that's where I'm going to be feeding the bubble wrap, as you can see here, putting the end bit here and attacking it with tic tacs, the little pins, onto this piece of wood at the back here by the back door, and then pushing the roll of bubble wrap going all the way across, and hopefully being able to tack it as well at the back here at the front doors of the polytunnel. So there's a way around everything. Oh dear, fun and games anyway. Yay, that's the bubble wrap going all across the roof there, and I've put some little tacks in, as you can see there, to hold the bubble wrap, and got it all round to the edge of the roof. And I just want to mention, on the dry, bright days, it's very important to ventilate as much as possible to keep as much humidity down. It's not the cold that harms cacti, it's the humidity. Here in Ireland, we're having a very cold forecast for this week, but we never get very cold temperatures like many people do in parts of the world. It is literally the humidity. I'll just show you here the roof. You can see here the condensation. So it's a necessity to ventilate as much as possible, change that air and get some ventilation in. And good that that's the first strip done as well. So now these wires going across. They're actually laundry washing wires, and we put the ties there to hold it in because the tape, as you can see there, just hanging down, doesn't work. But these ties will hold this, and the reason why I've got these wires here is because when we feed the bubble wrap going through on the sides, this will keep the bubble wrap from falling down. And also we've put some more the wire going across here as well, folding it through there onto this side, and that means the bubble wrap then can also stops it from falling down, and it's sort of going to work out well there with the roof. So I think we're getting there. There we go, guys, that's all that side done there, and onto this here, and now we're just doing the side over there. And that noise is the rain, and you can see that the bubble wrap in here makes it more, it feels cozier. You can actually feel that it feels warmer in here already. It has that lovely sort of cozy feel to it, and the sound of the rain on the roof, it almost reminds me when I used to go camping. Yay! That's all that side done, and put the bubble wrap then onto this side. Also covered the top of the door. We're going to probably have to leave that for another day, but we've got a double layer of the poly cover as well, so it's sort of okay for now. All this has been done. Now all we've got left to do is, take you here, is this little gap here. So obviously we're going to do the same thing, feed the bubble wrap over, all across, through there, all the way down onto there, and then it's all done. And just that little bit of a gap there. So all the plants are going to be nice and cozy for the winter. Way, that's it all done. Polytunnel all bubble wrapped. And I have to say, it gives it a really nice cozy feel in here. It almost looks like we've got sort of net curtains draping all in the polytunnel. Makes it really cozy, and it's going to make a massive difference to the temperature. We're keeping the heat in from the heater. As I say, it's a forecast, a really cold weather forecast for this week. Some nice sunny weather forecast, but with that brings the extreme cold. And we have a thermometer in here, as you can see. It's actually just below 10 Celsius there, probably about 9 Celsius, but it's a lot colder than that outside at the moment, and the heater isn't even on, so just having the bubble wrap is going to help. And let's just hope that the winter passes through without any really extreme temperatures. So do stay tuned for lots more videos coming up, guys. As I mentioned, I have a lot to do here in the polytunnel, a lot of organising and rearranging and things like that. I've also got some plants in the house I'm going to be repotting too, so stay tuned for upcoming videos. So then, guys, thank you so much for watching, and for lots more tips and tricks, do please subscribe if you haven't done already, and don't forget to click that notification bell. You can also check out my website, desertplantsofavalon.com, for my blogs on there, and I've also got some articles on there on how to grow cacti and succulents if you're new to the hobby. desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a lovely, warm, cactus-powered day. Yay! Cozy for the winter.